Welcome to a deep dive, everybody. Get ready, because we are really going to shake things up today. We're talking about how we see art, how we see ambition, and maybe even take a look at those classics sitting on your bookshelf. Today, we're cracking open James Joyce's A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, a classic. A classic, exactly. Don't worry if your last encounter with this one was a college all-nighter fueled by, lots and lots of coffee. We're going to make it fun.
We've got you.
We gotcha. Yeah, think of it this way. We're not just dissecting a book. This deep dive is your ticket to early 20th century Ireland.
Oh.
The explosion of modernism in art and literature, and those really universal dilemmas of chasing your dreams when the world has other plans.
Oh, I love it. And speaking of early 20th century Ireland, let's set the stage. Imagine, if you will, Ireland at the turn of the century.
Okay.
A country wrestling with its identity. Our sources call it a pressure cooker of tension because of British rule.
Mm-hmm.
What makes this period so important? Well, you've got to picture Ireland like a melting pot.
Okay.
It's this clash of ideologies.
Right.
You've got Catholic versus Protestant, tradition versus, the shock of progress, all kind of happening at once.
Yeah.
And right in the middle of it all, you've got our main man, Stephen Dedalus, just soaking it all in.
Now, our character analysis calls Stephen a protagonist who isn't always the most likable. He's described as hypersensitive. So how does that deep feeling actually fuel his art? Because it feels almost counterintuitive.
It's really interesting, right? So
Yeah.
the character analysis really highlights just how aware Stephen is of everything around him.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about just some, moody teenager stuff. This is different. It's like he's experiencing everything with this heightened intensity.
Yeah.
Remember that part where he's walking along the beach,
Yeah.
right? And he just gets totally lost in the rhythm of the waves.
Mhm.
What might seem like a pretty normal moment for you or me, for Stephen, is like this huge symphony of sensations. And that becomes fuel for his artistic side, for his imagination. He's almost wired to find inspiration in these everyday things, but it's also a source of, inner conflict for him.
So it's not just that he's, affected by things easily. It's that those experiences are like the heart of his creative process. It's like a
Yeah.
gift and a burden, these heightened senses.
100%. And this is where, really getting what was happening in Ireland back then, the history and the politics, is important. It's not just background noise.
Right.
This is the air Stephen's breathing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the context source even talks about how Joyce brings in these real-life figures like Charles Stewart Parnell.
Oh, right.
He was a really, really controversial political leader
Okay.
fighting for Irish home rule.
It's giving me family dinner table debate vibes, But the stakes are way higher. We're talking national identity, faith, freedom. It's intense. And Joyce, he just throws us right in the thick of it.
It's true, right?
Yeah.
Imagine the arguments about Parnell and his legacy.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tiny little picture of this giant political drama happening all over Ireland, and that's how Joyce shows us all this stuff, pressing in on Stephen from the outside.
Okay, so we've got Stephen, right? Super sensitive, living in this really intense time in Ireland, and then boom.
Yeah.
Plot summary mentions he's being pushed towards becoming a priest. Can you imagine
Oh, yeah.
that kind of pressure, especially back then?
Totally. It's like the ultimate, do I follow the rules or make my own path thing, And it's not like it's just coming from other people either.
Right.
Themes actually points out that Stephen's really wrestling with faith and sin, for
Yeah.
real. He's trying to figure out his place, but it's heavy stuff.
So he's caught between his family, his religion, and this artist bubbling up inside him. Talk about pressure.
It's like all these different forces pulling him in every direction.
Right.
And all that back and forth, that's what makes his story so interesting. He's figuring himself out in those tough spots, those quiet moments when he's alone.
That's where those crazy, vivid scenes in the novel really get you. Like the symbol section, it mentions brothels, gutters. Most people wouldn't exactly call those inspirational. But Stephen, he finds these sparks of artistic truth in those dark corners.
For sure. It's like he's looking for beauty where other people just see ugliness.
Exactly.
And Joyce, he uses that contrast, light and dark, beauty, ugliness, to show us how Stephen sees everything. He takes it all in, good, bad, you name it. He doesn't shy away from the stuff that makes people uncomfortable because he gets it. That's where the real stuff is.
It's like he's saying you can't have light without shadow. You know what I mean?
100%. And it's not just like where things are happening either. The symbol section talks about how Joyce uses colors, too, like maroon and green, to represent these opposite forces.
Wow, so even something as simple as a color can have this whole other meaning. It's like those brothels, the gutters. He makes you look at ordinary things in a whole new way, you know? It's like
Yeah.
you've discovered this secret code or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's actually a huge part of this whole modernist movement thing. Think about it. Artists saying, you know what? We're done with the old rules. They're playing with language, exploring all the messy, complicated parts of being human.
And Joyce is like their fearless leader.
He really is. Pushing boundaries, shaking things up, totally flipping the script.
Yeah. And we see that in those stream of consciousness parts, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like, bam, we're inside Steven's head, man.
It's like you can see how his mind works,
Yeah.
how he connects all these random things together. And through those connections, he starts to build his own unique style.
It's so cool. It's like reading his diary, you know? His thoughts, his feelings, it's all right there.
And that's the beauty of what Joyce is doing. It's not just a story. He's letting you peek behind the curtain. See how an artist's mind actually works from the inside out.
It's so different from how we usually read stories, right? Everything's all neat and tidy. But Joyce is like, hold my beer. He gets that life's not a perfect story. It's messy, unpredictable, full of contradictions. But even in all that chaos, there's real beauty.
Absolutely. And that beauty isn't always easy to find.
And speaking of complicated, let's talk about Stephen's dad, Simon. The Motifs material talks about father figures, and their relationship is, well, it's a lot.
Right. Simon's like this cautionary tale, you know.
Yeah.
The character analysis doesn't hold back. They say he represents everything that was messed up about being a man in Ireland back then. Broke, easily flattered, loved his dreams a little too much. This is a guy who has no clue where he fits in, and that's tough on everyone, especially Stephen.
But here's the thing. Even with all that, the source says they're actually close, at least when Stephen's younger. It's like this weird mix of love and hate. He admires his dad, but is also kind of terrified of ending up like him. It's like he's looking at his dad and seeing a possible future for himself, one that both compels and terrifies him. And speaking of complex relationships, let's talk about Stephen's friends, particularly Cranley. The character analysis describes Cranley as more receptive to Stephen's eccentricities, suggesting their conversations were crucial to understanding Stephen's internal struggles.
Cranley is that sounding board the confidant Stephen desperately needs. It's in those intimate dialogues that we see Stephen wrestling with his desire for a spiritual home, for connection. But as their conversations unfold, Stephen starts to realize that true connection might require him to let go of the expectations and traditions that are holding him back.
So he craves that sense of belonging, but he's also starting to realize that true belonging might mean embracing his individuality, even if it means standing alone.
Exactly. And that realization is a turning point for Stephen. It's when he begins to understand that his path might not align with what's expected of him. The themes section called it spiritual homelessness, which I find incredibly powerful.
Spiritual homelessness that resonates so deeply. It's that feeling of not quite fitting in, of searching for a place to belong, a place where you can truly be yourself. It's a tension so many people feel, even today.
Absolutely. It's a
Yeah.
timeless struggle. And for Stephen, this realization leads to a kind of self-imposed exile. The source material emphasizes how he recognizes that to become the artist he's meant to be, he has to leave behind everything he knows. His family, his country, even his faith.
Wow. That's a huge decision. It's like he's stepping into the unknown, choosing to embrace the uncertainty, all for the sake of his art.
Exactly. And that's where that striking image, the waiting girl, comes in the symbol of his artistic awakening. The symbol source describes her as representing the purity of artistic inspiration, the ideal that Stephen is striving for.
It's that moment when everything clicks, right? Like a lightning bolt of inspiration. He sees the waiting girl, and suddenly he understands his purpose.
It's a moment of both exhilaration and profound realization for Stephen. The path ahead will be solitary, but it's the path he must take.
And it's not just the waiting girl. The symbol source also connects Stephen's last name, Daedalus, to the figure of Daedalus from Greek mythology. Both are driven by aspiration, by this urge to push boundaries. But there's also an inherent risk involved. Like Icarus flying too close to the sun, Stephen risks crashing and burning by turning his back on everything he's ever known.
That's such a brilliant connection. It highlights the double-edged sword of the artistic pursuit, the soaring heights of creativity, and the potential for self-destruction. Stephen's journey is a constant dance between those two poles.
So how do we reconcile those two things, this drive to create and the potential to lose yourself in the process? What does it mean to truly embrace your artistic calling?
That's the question Joyce leaves us with. He's not giving us easy answers. He's asking us to sit with the complexity, the uncertainty, and to find our own meaning within that.
It's almost like he's inviting us to look at our own lives and ask, what sacrifices are we willing to make for the things we believe in? What are we willing to risk to become the people we're meant to be?
Exactly. It's a call to action, an invitation to embrace our own spiritual homelessness and forge our own paths, even if they lead us away from the familiar.
This deep dive has been like discovering a hidden map. Suddenly, I'm seeing this classic novel, this portrait of an artist, in a whole new light. It's a story about ambition, about the courage to be different, about the universal search for identity and belonging. And it's definitely made me want to dust off my copy of A Portrait of the Artist as a young man and dive back in.
That's the power of great literature. It stays with you, challenges you, and invites you to see the world and yourself with fresh eyes.
If this deep dive has taught us anything, it's that the journey of self-discovery is rarely a straight line. It's messy, it's challenging, and it often requires us to make difficult choices. But within those choices, within those moments of uncertainty, lies the potential for extraordinary transformation.